I know even with at the same time, Stanley Clark had just come off the road and he had heard I was making bases, and we had a standing joke there for a while because Stanley wanted a piccolo bass right around the same time that Anthony wanted a six-string bass. And there I am. I'm a guy who doesn't know how to make basses. I'm a jazz guitar player who fixes people's guitars, and I wanted to get my left hand behind my right hand, so I made a bass, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Already, I'm 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 being asked to make a six-string bass, which has never been made before, and that Stanley wants a piccolo bass that's tuned up an octave higher, and yeah, that's a lot of stuff to think about, you know. And when I get back to the string thing, I'll talk more about Stanley too. But the string thing, I remember again in Jim Roberts's American Basses, he talks about the fact that I made Stanley's piccolo bass, and it was strung with the Dario strings. The way it was structured in that book, it was like I just went out there and asked the Dario to give me a set of strings, and they already had them. Like, oh yeah, piccolo strings, no problem. I can assure you that's not the way it went down. Not at all. I went out there and screamed a little bit and got a little bit edgy and what have you. And again, John was going, where are you getting all these crazy ideas? A six-string bass and now this other thing? You want a plain B, a G string? How are you going to tune it? Well, we're going to tune it up an octave. And wow, And anyway, finally, we did get a set of piccolo strings out of John, and hey, thank you, John DiGiorgio. It was great, but it was not like he just had those things laying around like it sounds like in that book, like it just up and out and got them. The B string, same way. I mean, after a while, yeah, John actually, we did experiment with the B string quite a bit. He had made me some 145s. Some 140s, 130s, 135s. I even have one, I think I might even still have it laying around here in one of these boxes, a couple 166s. Because we were dealing with, trying to figure out a way to get some more tension on that B string so it wouldn't flop around so much. And we thought a heavier gauge string would do it. And it didn't flop around, but because the string was so busy, when I say busy, you had to take more windings to get that gauge up. And the more windings you have, the harder it is to keep the string tight, So it was tight, all right, physically tight. But the sound was just very tubby. It never worked. So we ended up with a 130 and 128, something like that, which I think it's a pretty standard. A lot of people use that, But that's where it came from. I mean, there's a lot of stories out there, too, about where the B string came from and who did it first and all that stuff. And as far as I know, that's really how it came about, And that, I don't know of anybody who could deny that. That's pretty much it. Stanley's piccolo bass, the first one was a 34-inch scale. I wasn't sure, again, how to do that. I wasn't thinking, I guess, of the tension as much as I should have at the time. But I remember Stanley being very, very, he just, let me know when you get it ready. We were getting down to the wire the last couple of days, and it was kind of shaped like a Fender in that style. As I recall, it was a walnut bass with a 34-inch scale. And I think a shallow pickup of some sort. I don't remember now what was on it. But we were working on it night and day. He said he wanted to use it in the studio on a Monday morning. And of whatever week that was. And I think I delivered it to him on Saturday. It was actually Sunday morning, because we were working in the shop late, and he kept calling up and saying, "How's it going?" It was like 7 o'clock at night, or 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. I said, "Well, we're almost there. I got a couple more things I'm not sure about it. We're almost there. I'll call you." He says, "It doesn't matter what time, Carl. I don't care. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, I'll pay you extra, whatever it is, you know. If you can, I just want to get it so I can play it a little bit on Sunday, because I want to go in the studio and record with it on Monday, you know." I said, "Okay, we'll see what we can do, you know." So I kept working on it. It was almost there. And then sometime around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that in the morning, I called him. And I got, "Hello, Stanley, this is Carl." "Huh?" "It's Carl. We got your bass." Oh, Carl. Oh, yeah. Hey, get a cab. Come on up. Yeah. I'll pay for the cab. Whatever it is, just come up. He was living up on West End Avenue somewhere. I forget what the cross street was, but he was uptown a little bit. And me and I think Greg was there at the time. Maybe not. Joel was definitely there. We got in the cab and went up to Stanley's apartment. And Stanley appeared in his bathrobe. His wife got up and made coffee, and we had a glass of wine. We were all sitting around 2 o'clock in the morning. I had taken one of my guitars up with me. I had like a little L5 or something I took up with me. I had my D'Acquisto, that's right. I had my D'Acquisto at the time. And Stanley and I sat around and played a couple of little blues things or something like that. He just wanted to try it out. And he wasn't sure about how he wanted to tune it. He was thinking about tuning up a fourth. And he tuned up an octave and so forth and so on, And we finally settled on the octave, and that's what he did. And the gauges on the strings were 42 and 32 on the bottom. A 28 and a 20, I think. The first string was a 20 plain, then a 28 wound, and then a 32 and a 42. That's what it was, something like that. And he played that bass, and he recorded a lot of things with that bass. Several years later, when I had my shop on Court Street, at 168 Court Street, and by that time, Mike Parisi was there at that time, Bruce Hoheb. We'll talk about Bruce sometime too. He was another one that doesn't get mentioned too much in some of the stories about me, but Bruce was in my life for quite a while. He was very important too. And Bruce did a lot of nice things. And Ron Blake was there too. Anyway, one day, it was a Saturday, Stanley had come in, and he has to record on Monday, and somebody had knocked the bass over in the studio and broke the headstock off. He said, "Do you think you could get this together for me, because I want to use it on a date on Monday, And I looked at it. It wasn't a bad break, but it was bad enough that it was going to take a little bit of fixing to get it together. And I told him, I said, "Well, you know what, Stanley, even if I did get it together, I would like to make sure that we have enough drying time here and, make sure I get it all right. And going to have to put new veneers on it and things. And I don't know how I'm going to do that by Monday, Even if I stop everything I would do, and I would definitely do that. I'll stop everything to do it for you, but even with that,